Hey guys, MoneyMan300 back for some more Project Cars videos here, and this time we're going to be going through and tuning the Ruf RGT-8 GT3 car. So it's the Ruf GT3 car, and this is a car that I wanted to pick to tune because it has some noticeable things that need to be tuned on it. And what I'm gonna do is do a before and after. So I want to show you guys what it is that I'm trying to tune out of it. Then I'll go through, I'll go make adjustments, get it dialed in, and then I'll come back, show you the numbers, and then show you how the car behaves on the track. So real quickly, what I want to do here is, first thing, I'm just going to show you, and I'm going to do this from behind the car because it's easier to see what the car is doing than you can feel it in car, but it's difficult to see it in car. So I'm going to show this from behind here and show you what's going on. So let me hit resume here. Go. And what I want to do is show you as I go into this. I'll go slowly into here, downshift. Now when I hit the gas, and you can't see it as well there, but it really wants to push, the nose wants to push out. Let's do it in this next turn. So you can see it right there, it just wants to push up the track. It just understeers. Right there. So you see that as soon as I hit the gas there, if I hit it at all early, the car just wants to steer up the track. The first two times it wasn't real obvious. I think that time it was more obvious. I'll see if I can. Right there, it wants to steer up the track. I can't steer it back. So it's got this understeer on it, and it's understeers when I get on the throttle that the nose wants to push up the track. Unless I'm perfect with it, which I was too slow in those first two turns. I should have been pushing it a little more like I normally would if I'm driving on the track. But as the demo, I was just going too slow. But anyway, you could definitely see it on that third turn. It just, when I hit the gas, when I'm trying to push it a little bit, the car really pushes up. And I don't notice that like in the BMW Z4. It really kind of sinks in and digs into the track and does a good job of that. So what I'm going to do is go take a look at the numbers, start to make some adjustments, see if I can't get that tuned out of there, and also see what it does with my lap times. I was in the 127s with this. I have a feeling that if I can get this right, I can shave a minimum of a second. And I'm using Laguna Seca to tune. You know, I could use any one of a number of tracks. It's just a track I know well, and it's got a lot of different types of turns and things like that. And for me, it's just a good, I know what a car should do on this track, so it's a good track for me to use to tune. So I'm going to head on over, tune this thing up, and then we'll be back to take a look at what we did. All right, so we finished up our tuning and wanted to come in, show you guys the settings I ended up with. Tried a lot of different things. First thing I did is I tried things individually, went through each one, tried something. If it didn't do anything, I set it back and did those kind of one at a time through the different things that I thought would make the biggest difference or have the biggest effect. I started with the tire pressure by lowering the tire pressure. Didn't seem to have any effect. Then I went to the downforce. Out of that, didn't seem to have any effect. You know, and then I reverted them back and kind of went on down the line through each one of these. For the most part, I didn't do them necessarily in that order. I did them in order that I thought, you know, might have the biggest impact. Mess with the ride heights a little bit, spring rates, rebound, alignment, all of those things. So here's what I ended up with. These are the settings that I've got on here. So let's start from the beginning here. First thing, I lowered the front tire pressure. So ultimately, what I ended up doing was a combination of a lot of settings. I basically just took it and oversteer tuned everything. So the car kind of naturally understeers, so I wanted to just oversteer tune it, and this is how I ended up. So 1.85, 1.85, everything else is the default. I believe here, maybe the brake pressure from before. No, I think that's default. Everything else is default. 1.5, 1.85, and 1.85. I did add one to the front downforce at 2.0. The others are default here. That's going to help more in your higher speed corners than it is in lower speed, but will help. I did adjust the camber to negative 3.2 right here, negative 3.2, negative 2.5, and negative 2.5 on the rear. I did not mess with the toe or the caster angles. The front ride height I left alone. Actually, I left all the ride heights alone. You could potentially bump your ride height up a little bit in here if you wanted to for something like Laguna Seca, where you're going to bottom out just a little bit in there. But as you come off of the, the top of the track and the dip up in the chicane that you've got. These front spring rates I lowered just a little bit down to 190. I left the rear spring rates the same, and I left the sway bars the same. I did play around with a lot with those, but really not a lot that fixed anything for me. So I did end up leaving those at the default. Over next on the dampers, I did make some changes here. The first, I left the bump stops the same. I did adjust the slow bump. I increased or stiffened the slow bump on both the front and the rear. So you can see the numbers here: 12,000, 12,000, 12,700, 12,700. Those are stiffer than the default. I also did the that was all of your slow bumps. So I also on the fast bumps, I softened the fast bumps just a little bit on these to 2,300, 2,300, 2,900, and 2,900 on those. All of these things are to induce just a little bit more oversteer in the car, to kind of loosen it up, make it fast and loose is really what I was going for in here. Next thing is the slow rebound. So I softened the fronts a little and stiffened the rear. All those, so 9,500, 9,500, 17,800, 17,800, and then we have our fast rebounds, and I did the same thing here. Softened the fronts just a little bit to 4,250, 4,250. Stiffen the rear to 7,150 and 7,150. So those are all of those settings right there, and that was it. So that was everything that we did. So let's hop out on the track and take a quick look. It may, we'll see if it actually shows as noticeable here. But let's hop in here. Let's get behind the car real quick, since that was the biggest area. See if I can do a little bit better job of demoing it this time. Out here, use the other buttons so the clicks aren't so noticeable for you guys. Let's shift gears. So put it through here. See when I get on it, see how it steers out there, but it didn't hop right back in. I don't know if you noticed that. It really grabbed in. You see, as soon as I hit the gas, it did want to steer out a little. Steers up the track, but then it grabs. Same thing there. So not a great turn, but steer out and then grabs back in. You see it on each one of those, right? I'm kind of just over exaggerating that for effect, but there it is again. So I'm still getting the effect, but I did go down. I think I was in the 127, 4 or 5 range. I got down into the low 126s. Could easily run this much lower than that with, just need some more laps of practice on that. So give these settings a whirl. Let me know what you think. Maybe you've got some settings that are a little bit better, that you've completely eliminated that push. I was not able to, and I played around with it quite a bit, completely eliminate the push, but it is certainly better. So take a look at these. Let me know what you think. I'm going to end it with that. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.